What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another brand new video here today. We're back on Gran Turismo Sport again for the start of a new season of Nations Cup and Manufacturers Cup Series, whatever you want to call it respectively. This is only pre-season, but I thought I'd give it a go, and not going to lie, I actually really enjoyed these first two races. So what you're going to see here, first off, is the Nations Cup season opener in the Mazda Roadster little touring car here at the Red Bull Ring. Now, crucially to note, this is, I think, my second or third attempt at this race. The first attempt was really a learning process. Second attempt was going well until I bottled it quite badly and nearly wiped out about 3 other cars with me, I think. And this is the third and more successful attempt that you are currently watching. So yeah, not much else to say on that front. Qualifying again, only short 5-minute session, so not much time to get out and get a lap in. Obviously had to try and burn fuel as well. Obviously even now the quali sessions are only 5 minutes. That still seems to be a common thing, and personally I think that's a bit annoying, but anyway. On our qualifying lap now, bit of a scruffy end, as you can see, a bit sideways out of the final corner, but it's been a pretty decent lap all the same. Where's it going to put us? P4 provisionally, and not going to lie, I'm pretty happy with that. I definitely felt like there was more in it. Probably was a bit closer at the end there to the cars in front of me than what I should have been, but P5 in the end, so third race start, pretty decent. So let's get into the race and see how we do. Alright, so here we are, the start of a brand new season for the Nations Cup here at the Red Bull Ring in these beautiful little Mazda Roadster touring cars. Not gonna lie, very awkward to drive. Took me a while to get used to it, mainly just by how much these things slide in the corners. We are on Comfort soft tyres as well, so you can imagine what that feels like. But anyway, we'll try and make the best of what we've got. P5. Solid starting position, so hopefully we can make the most of it. Waiting for the 5 red lights now. You can get pinned for false starts as well, as it said on screen there momentarily, but away we go. Looks like a pretty decent launch. Our reaction time to the lights wasn't great, but I think we're going to hang on to P5, or we have for the moment at least. Up into turn 1, we're going to try and maybe look around the outside. Wasn't really expecting to do that, but really just kind of got forced into it there. Wasn't really sure which way to go, and as you can see now, it looks like we're going to get absolutely swamped as we come up to the top of the hill here. We're piggy in the middle, it seems, between two fellow roadsters. Down to 6th, down to 7th now, and not looking good for us at the moment. We're going to try and get some of these spots back if we can. But look on the radar, there's like 3 cars, there's 3 wide behind us. And this is all a bit awkward now, and yeah, that's not really the start that we needed. Down to P7, I felt like I had the pace to run with the leaders, and this was the real awkward thing as well, because I really wanted to get these 2 spots back. I couldn't afford to sit back here, so we're going to go for a send up the inside of Blitz there in P6. Very nicely defended though, real late on the brakes, couldn't quite do anything. Just a little tap in the right really. I thought I might have been able to get the over and under on him, but turns out I was still technically just alongside, so I couldn't quite do that. But anyway, looks like the guy in 5th has run wide, so now we're going to be side by side into this next left-hander section. We're going to try and capitalise on this if we can. A little bump on the back of Blitz. But it looks like now we're back in like the worst spot imaginable. Now we're on the outside, 3 wide coming into this penultimate corner. We could find ourselves outside the top 10 at this rate. Here we go into the right-hander now. As a bit of bump and run there, he's been bumped wide. Now we're back up to P6. Jesus, it's all kicking off here. This is only the first lap of an 11-lap race, by the way. And, man, what an eventful first lap it was. But, anyway, back up to P6 for a momentarily back down in, oh, God knows, where were we? 7th, 8th, 9th, wherever. But, back up to P6, so hopefully now we can just take a breath here for a little bit. And I'm not too sure whether I actually want to attack this guy here, Revo. Is it Kiza? I don't know. I'm hopeless with pronunciation, so I apologise for that. But anyway, it looks like we got a pretty decent run. We got a real good run actually out of that right-hander, and now we're going to look up the inside into this left-hander. We should get the job done. Make sure we don't overshoot. And I think we've got it done, and we have. So back up into our original starting position. Back up to P5. So we're regaining some lost ground at the moment. A bit wide there, a little bit tail happy on power. And not going to lie, it was really awkward to lose the back end of these cars. And it wasn't real easy to catch either. So you had to be very careful. So coming off the lap 3, one of the leaders there with a penalty. Excuse me, that was PRT Codes there, serving a, I don't know, 1-2 second penalty, whatever it was. You can see him on the radar. I thought he was going to try to send back up here inside. So I had one eye on the radar there and one eye on the trio ahead of me as I was trying to cover off a dive. And we were able to do that successfully for the moment. So up to P4 now, one spot away from the podium. But as you can see, John there, real bad run out of the final corner, and now Codes has got a run on us. He's up our inside. Looks like he's going to take P4 back, and maybe P3 if he tries for a send up the inside of John into turn 1. No, stays in behind him for the moment. He does have a half a second penalty though. Gets very sideways on the exit there, and this was honestly something which I noticed an awful lot. And personally, I found it a bit strange because the fastest way around a lot of these corners was to actually get the back end of the car out sideways a little bit. So I found that a bit odd, to be honest. But did a few laps and kind of got used to it. And we're running at the front at the moment against some fairly competitive drivers as well. Certainly not in top split per se, but one of the top splits would be my guess at least. But Codes serves his penalty back up into P4, but we're right under the rear wing of John. We're going to try and make a move here down the inside. Real late move, but a real nice one. Tries to squeeze us to the inside, but we get the job done, and that is up into the podium positions now. Real nice move on John there. So next up is Side Dog and Emery, 1 and 2, and as you can see, coming onto lap 5, we've caught right up to the back of these two. Now, one thing that is worth mentioning is you do have to fuel save a little bit in this race, so that might be why we are, or we seem to be the quickest car on track at the moment. On general pace, I don't think we are, but up the inside of Emery we go, following Side Dog. A little bit of contact with Emery there, but no harm done. But as we look behind, I think you'll find that, yes, they've actually got a 2-second penalty, so I'm not sure what on earth that's for. But anyway, won't worry about that too much. Now we're right behind Side Dog. We go for a send up the inside, coming down the hill there. I wasn't planning on that, to be honest. He was just so early on the brakes, and we get the move done nicely. Now side by side between the Red Bull and the Gold Mazda. Kiwi versus the Aussie, and I think we should just get the upper hand here, and we do. So up into the lead now of the Nations Cup season opener. So now I guess it's a case of what can we do? Can we pull away? Because obviously we do still need to fuel save a little bit. You can see Side Dog right behind us. I think he was going to try and get up the inside there, but we covered it off very nicely. So maintaining the lead for the moment, basically at the halfway stage of this race. And not going to lie, at this point, tyres surprisingly, we're actually holding in there. We were setting personal best sectors when we weren't battling, that is. But on comfort soft, so I didn't really expect highway to be a big problem. The big thing to keep an eye on was fuel. As you can see, we got around about half a tank at the moment, and we're about halfway through this race, so we are right on the edge at the moment as to whether we are going to make it home. But a little bit of fuel saving, a little bit of lifting and coasting here and there should see us to the end. We've already actually gapped those guys a little bit, but coming on to the end of lap 6, I'm afraid that didn't last very long, because here comes Side Dog up our inside in the penultimate corner. We try and angle around the outside, probably not the best thing to be doing at the moment. He goes up the inside. I tried to get the over and under there, but turned in a little bit too soon, clipped him in the left rear, and now that has just completely killed not just my momentum, but Side Dog's momentum as well, as now it looks like he's going to get the lead taken off him by PRT Codes. And here comes John, 3 wide into turn 1. We've got Blitz up our inside as well, and just like that, from first and second, we've gone down to 4th and 5th. But we've got a good run out of the first turn, and we're going to try and take the lead back if we can in the slipstream of Blitz. Codes on the left there. We're going to try and get the lead back if we can. Up the hill now. This is going to be 3 wide. This might be a bit sketchy. I'm not too sure. Up the inside. Are we going to get this done? A little bit of contact between us, but I think we're just going to get that done. Squeezing Blitz a little bit there on the exit. But we get the job done, and that is back up into the lead of the race. So very intense. Probably, 60 seconds there, but anyway, so far so good. Back into the lead, and at this point, really just defending for my life at the moment. But as you can see, there goes Codes. You can see him on the radar with a send up the inside of Blitz, and that has actually allowed us to just get a little bit of gap to those guys, have a little bit of breathing room. Side Dog's still there in P4, so one to definitely watch out for. But as you can see, those guys battling a little bit has just allowed us to edge away, and we're actually edging away by quite a bit at the moment as well. You can see now we're just squeaking away from those guys behind, and we might be able to do something about winning this race. But coming on to the final lap of the race now, those guys started to battle a lot, but Side Dog was able to clear all the chaos back there, I guess, so to speak, and he reeled us in. So it's 1v1 on the final lap for the race win. It's the Aussie versus the Kiwi. How ironic. But anyway, over and under, back up into the lead out of turn 1. We've got a big gap to the guys behind, so it really is only Side Dog and ourselves at the moment. One of us is going to win the season opener. Looking on the radar, is he going to try for a send up the top of the hill? I'm not too sure, but we were just late enough on the brakes to fend him off there. I wasn't too sure what he wanted to do there, whether he was actually going to go for a send or not. You can see we've got a fuel light flashing down the bottom left as well, but we've got about 1.1 laps of fuel remaining, so we should be okay. Side Dog trying to look for a move down here inside, but there's no room down there, Sonny Jim. We brake as late as we can while defending to the inside and doing everything I can to try and hang on to this lead. I want this win. This will only be the 2nd or 3rd time, I think, that I've won a Nations Cup race if we're able to pull this off. But here goes Side Dog round the outside in this left-hander. This would be unreal if he pulls this off. Side by side, he's still there, still side by side now. He tries to hang it round the outside. We send it into this left-hander. We run a little bit wide there, just trying to use up all of the racetrack that we can. I did squeeze him a little bit there, so I do apologise for that. But side by side now, up to the final 2 corners. He's got his nose ahead. We're going to have to try something here if we want to win this race. He goes a little bit deep. We're going to try the over and under. We've got it. We're up the inside, down into the final corner. We go deep, but I think we've gone a bit too deep. He's got the over and under on us. And now it's a drag race up to the line. I think he's going to get us on the line. And he does. Oh man. You know, that was really good fun. Not gonna lie. I was really annoyed that I couldn't get that done because I felt like we should have won that race, to be honest. But I will definitely take that. P2 to start this pre-season of Nations Cup. So I'm happy with that. 252 points earned. I think that's the most points I've ever earned in a Nations Cup race, so I am happy with that. But we'll head over now to the Manufacturer Series. We head off now to the Red Bull Ring in Group 4 cars, I believe this is. Now, as you can see, we've signed with Mercedes for this pre-season. I think, if my memory's correct, I signed with McLaren for when I first tried this. Then I signed with Ferrari, which was last season, which you guys saw. And now I've signed with Mercedes. Don't really know why, to be honest. I just thought I'd try something a little bit different, but oddly enough, I actually have some teammates which were my teammates when I was at Ferrari. So, yeah, a couple of people making the switch over to the German manufacturer from the Italian squad. So, it's a bit interesting to note. But anyway, for us here, qualifying, hoping for a top 5. This is my second attempt at this race. First attempt, I think I qualified 8th or something, I think, by memory. And the race really didn't go well. I just struggled for tyre wear, and I actually ended up going from mediums to hards, where everybody else went from like softs to mediums or mediums to softs. But this attempt went much better. Starting off P5 in qualifying, as you can see. Decided to follow Chad Reed in the Mustang on my qualifying lap, as he actually took pole position in the very first race, or in the very first attempt that I did anyway. So I thought he might be a bit of a good benchmarker to try and follow. Paid dividends as we end up just behind him in P5, so pretty solid qualifying spot. Fastest of the Mercedes in this lobby as well, so hopefully we can translate that into a solid result. But with the Nations Cup out of the way, it's time to get into the first round of the Manufacturer Series and see what we can do. Alright, so here we are. First round of pre-season for the FIA Manufacturer Series here at Belgium in the Group 4 cars. Starting P5 in our beautiful silver Mercedes. Stock livery as well. I roamed through liveries for this car and just really couldn't find anything I like. So I just reverted back to the stock livery at the last minute. So hopefully that might bring some good luck as well. First time I think I've ever run with a stock livery on a car in Nations or Manufacturers Cup, so might bring me some good luck or some bad luck, but we'll find out. But away we go. Planes flying overhead as well. Not gonna lie, they were actually really noisy at the time. Might not seem it when you're actually watching this, but live when I was doing this, that was a little bit disorientating for just a split second when they just roared overhead. But yeah, that didn't affect me in any way really, but anyway, we'll worry about that another time because we're not here for that. We're here to race. Down to Eau Rouge, Radion, whatever you want to call it. I know there's like 500 different names for it, but anyway. Starting on the soft tyres as well, which is crucial to note. Now, one thing that I did figure out very quickly was the reason why I struggled so much in the first race was I had the brake bias set 2 clicks to the front, where after doing quite a few laps just in like practice, I realised that I actually needed it 2 clicks towards the rear, and that really looked after the tyres so much nicer, as you'll see in this race the further we get into it. But going onto the bus stop chicane at the end of lap 1, the top 5 have all really crowded together a little bit here. AMA Chad Reed with a 0.5 second penalty, excuse me. So hopefully we can get past him when he serves the penalty, which is right now. We should get past the Mustang. This might be close actually. He might still get the spot, but no, around the outside, late on the brakes, and we move up to P4. So job done on the Mustang. So next up, I think we've got Chevrolet, Jaguar, and I think Aston Martin running in the top three. And you see Jaguar and Aston Martin side by side. Aston kind of gets pushed out a little bit wide there, so we're going to try and go by absolutely everybody. And just like that, we've gone from 4th up into 2nd, up behind PRT Codes now in the Jaguar. Now here's a 2-second penalty as well, so by the time we get back around towards, what do you call it, the Kemmel Straight, is that accurate? I can't remember. But anyway, by the time we get back around there to where the penalty zone is, he will probably drop back to P5, and if anything, maybe out of the slipstream range as well, so that could really cost him. And speaking of, well, you saw it yourself, he just completely ran wide, ran off the circuit, and that has gifted us the lead here at Spa. He was still just alongside us there, but he decided to back out, give us the lead. And there we go, from P5 we now lead here at Spa-Francorchamps. I can't pronounce anything right lately, Jesus Christ, sorry. But anyway, so at the moment we've got a comfortable lead by around about the second and a half. Now at this point, honestly, I was thinking, I'm pretty sure that a couple of the guys behind me are on mediums, so they're going to be on softs at the end where I'm going to be on mediums. So I was trying to save a little bit of fuel, but at the same time I was really trying to push, and as you can see, coming onto the end of lap 5, look down at the bottom left corner of screen there, soft tyres are absolutely shot. So we're going to come in now, basically half race distance for our set of medium tyres. This is mandatory to put a set of mediums on as well, so you can't just go from softs to softs like if you were new to this type of race you might do. I am guilty of making that mistake when I first tried these races as well, but that's in the past, and hopefully I don't make that kind of mistake in the future. I don't plan to anyway. But re-emerging out of the pits, we are provisionally in P2. We've been jumped by the Aston Martin, all purely on fuel as well. We had about 2.5 seconds lead, and he has jumped us by about half a second, so he gained 3 seconds effectively in the pit stop just by not having to sit still for fuel as long as we did. And now we're in a bit of an awkward spot here, because now there is Citroen in between us, so we're going to have to try and get through on this guy as quickly as we can. Obviously he's on, I don't know if it's softs or mediums, but his tyres would be shot either way, so we've got to try and get past as quickly as we can. And look at that, just completely out traction in there on the new medium tyres. Coming onto the start of lap 7, down into turn 1, everybody else has now come in to make their pit stop, so we are effectively P2. I say everybody, we're still waiting on Barter's 81 to come in and make his pit stop. I presume he's on mediums, so he'll probably come in for a set of softs, maybe at the end of this lap. Speaking of which, we'll cut on to the end of this lap. He has been overhauled and demoted back to P2, and he peels in for what undoubtedly will be a set of soft tyres, and it is, as you can see, he's on mediums there. Basically out of fuel as well, so he had to come in there, otherwise he would have ran out of fuel, and that would have been his race in the bin. But anyway, coming on to lap 8, as you can see, I got a strange feeling that basically everybody around me started on mediums, so they're now all on softs. And as you can see, Chad Reed in the Mustang, who I know is on softs, has caught us up from about 3.5 seconds back in literally a lap and a half. So I actually decided to just give him the signal there to just go by. I didn't want to fight him. I knew that AE McEwen in the Chevrolet was still about 2.5 seconds back at the point in time, and I thought, if I fight Chad, that's just going to allow the Chevy to catch up, and potentially we might not end up on the podium at all. But that's not going to help our cause. That is a half a second time penalty, so on the very next lap we serve that, and as you can see, there goes the Chevrolet up into P3. The top two have absolutely disappeared in this race, so there's no real chance of impacting them. And as you can see, I don't know the exact reason behind this. Maybe it's because we were pushing a little bit more as we end up nearly up in the grass there. But the tyre wear on the mediums was damn near worse than what it was on the softs, so that was a little bit confusing for me. But anyway, coming on to the final lap of the race, Through the bus stop chicane for the final time. And from P5, we're going to finish P4. I think McEwen actually ran out of fuel there on the line because we only ended up about a second behind him. So P3 was almost ours on the line there, but wasn't to be, unfortunately. But yeah, there we go. P5 to P4. Leading the race quite comfortably there before the pit stops, but strategy probably hurt us a little bit, as well as that half a second penalty as well. But I still think that is a pretty good way to start the season. P4, I think that gives us 250 odd points next to our name as well. Let's just have a look. No, 249. Okay, so I was close, but not quite. So 249 points for the Manufacturer Series and 252 for the Nations Cup. Pretty solid, if I do say so myself. So just bringing up my rank now, just so I can have a look at this. So first in Tasmania, doesn't really come as a surprise. And looking at that, third for Mercedes-Benz, 16th in Oceania. So all in all, I think this has been a pretty successful start. Mercedes leading the global manufacturer ranking as well by 7 points, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's it from me today, guys. If you all enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, stay tuned for plenty more. And until my next video, I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.